Hello and welcome to Caffeine Entertainment. I am your host, Mental 9R, and this is episode number 9. Yes, we're almost at double digits, but episode number 9 of the GMX podcast. And as always, I will be doing this episode with my good friend and cohort, Fin Tin Tin. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I'm good. Same bat time, different bat channel. But yeah,
Yeah,
I'm good.
yeah, you're out of town, so a different scenery from
Yeah.
behind you
We're
there, and
in Quebec and La Belle Provence, as they say. It's we couldn't miss this though.
yeah. Well, I think we got some decent topics this week too, so it should be fun.
Hopefully, a little
We'll
bit
see
more
if we can get her all
uplifting.
done. Yeah, a little better than our negative news week, where the industry in tough shape. So there's some interesting stuff here, some good, some bad. Maybe it depends on your point of view, but overall, I think it's fairly good news across the board. Despite some mixed messaging once again from our friends at Xbox/Microsoft,
Who can
mixed
believe it?
messaging in the most bizarre way, something I don't think I've ever seen in my life. But
Mhm.
yeah, good times. Cool. Well, why don't we'll kick it off. First up, after silence from Rockstar, GTA 6 release date rumors appears online. Yeah. So we're hearing potential leak that is showing us October 27th, 2025. I don't even know. Are you excited for GTA 6? Are you a GTA fan? I should
I
know this.
Yeah, I'm a huge GTA fan. Now, I've never been into the online aspect of it, but I've always liked the single player mode of GTA.
Yeah.
Like the for GTA 5, to me, I played it, I loved it, and once I played and completed a single person storyline, I was kind of done. That was like 10 years ago, and it's still going strong. People have been pinging me, buddies of mine have pinged me about doing online missions together and stuff. It's never really, it doesn't feel like, and obviously, I don't know what I'm talking about because I never played it online, but it never felt while I was playing it like this would be a good multiplayer game to me. That's what do I know, right? Because it's obviously GTA Online is huge and it has been for many, many years. And as you and I were chatting
Yeah.
about beforehand, they
Oh
brought it out
man.
in so many different consoles and so many different re-editions of it or editioning it over so many different, if that's a word. Yeah,
It's insane.
yeah, and one of the things I like just first of all, I don't know about the veracity of this date, but did it point out that a lot of the games, which is kind of funny, had come out in October. So maybe there's something in it. But either which way, it's such a huge game, and I think it's going to move a lot of consoles once it does arrive. Number one, and there was also an article here somewhere along here, somewhere a link to a previous article, and it was mentioning that the budget for this game was like $2 billion, which just
Yeah.
blew my mind.
If I mean, it seems like an insane number, you know, but when you put into perspective the longevity of GTA 5, going all the way back to the PS3 and 360 gen, right through an entire generation of PS4 and Xbox One, and then into this generation, we're already almost 4 years in. It's really pretty freaking crazy. The game's been around over a decade.
Yeah,
And it's just been an absolute money machine. I mean, I know people that have bought it 3 4 times,
yeah.
between the three console versions and the PC version. I'm sure, I wouldn't be surprised if there's people out there that have bought it for both Xbox and PlayStation for all three of those generations too.
And you're not
I
such a
find
big
it.
fan of it, right? Like, which I find is a bit
I'm
surprising.
not. I'm not, and it's funny that the version, like, I've never bought GTA 5. I do have it because I got it for free off of Epic because they give
Mhm.
away so many games. So I did get a free version. I've never played it. I've never installed it. I haven't
Wow.
like really looked at it. But part of that goes back to GTA 4, which I heard was a pretty decent game in the series, and I played maybe 10, 20 hours, and I had had enough. I never finished it. I played a bit of 3. And I think I played a bit of one of the like earlier ones, like 1 or 2 or something. I can't remember. Maybe it was San Andreas or something like that. But yeah, I've just never really got into the games, and
That's surprising to me. I think it's the type
it's
of game you'd like if you. I mean, I do think that Grand Theft Auto 4 in particular was a bit more dour. It was a bit more, I know, to continue the theme of our last show, depressing. But I think for sure, like Grand Theft Auto Vice City and Grand Theft Auto 5, they were a lot of fun, I found. And I definitely will be
yeah,
picking up. But I agree with you as well in terms of the money. Like, whether it was another point as well. I'm not sure if it was in this article or another one I read related to this, and they were going on about the number of likes that Avengers Infinity War had gotten. It was the record number of likes it had gotten for a video, and it was after 6 years. And Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer beat that in like a day in terms of the number of likes.
crazy.
It is like absolutely nuts.
Yeah,
So
that's
I'm looking
insane.
forward to it, but I don't know if we can add too much credence or veracity to that October date. It's still long. I think it's still a long way away to validate that it's going to be a specific date.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see, I guess, as time moves forward. I know earlier in the year, I'm gonna guess PlayStation will probably have marketing rights. They seem to land these type of games.
Yeah.
Um, Part of me wonders if anyone needs to have marketing rights with this game, like from a Rockstar perspective. They could probably just market it themselves, and who cares? But I'm sure they want that money that comes in with that type of stuff. And I
I
know
did
there's
read.
been,
Oh, sorry. Just one other thing. I did read as well, which would be of interest to you, into that article that it probably is, and obviously people are up in arms about it. But I saw that it was probably going to be a console exclusive initially, and it wasn't going to come to a PC
yeah,
for some time.
yeah, that's not surprising. The last couple of games have been that way, I think. If I'm not crazy, early on, I thought they came out on PC originally. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm thinking of it. If maybe I'm thinking of Carmageddon. I can't remember. Anyway, it's been many a year, but yeah, I did hear that same thing, that it'll be a 1 year probably exclusive. Which, most PC gamers, they don't care. They're of the opinion that great, all the bugs will get worked out by the time it comes to PC. So uh, I know I won't be rushing out to buy it
Or
or
buy it
anything
all
like
by the
that.
sounds of us.
Probably won't buy it at all. It'll probably be a case of when I get it for free somewhere, or, in the cheap bin. If it's super, super good, and, I'm watching gameplay of it on Twitch or wherever, and I just think, wow, that does look amazing, maybe my mind will be changed. I don't know. But just so
I find it hard
far,
to imagine
none of the games have
I
really
find it
grabbed
hard to
me.
imagine it's not going to be something spectacular. Like, it's just, I mean, obviously they've got other stuff as well, like Red Dead Redemption, etc. But it's been a long time. They must have been working on this for a long, long time. Who knows the amount of hours they're burnt on this one? So I find it hard to
Yeah.
believe it's not going to be epic. If it's not epic, it'll be the biggest epic fail in video game history. But I think it will be.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure. I mean, geez, like I don't know how many years they've actually been developing it, but like I say, if you look at the time frame since they last released one, they've had plenty of time to put together one heck of a game. So, and definitely will have the resources. If you look at like I said, the cash cow that GTA 5 was, the mere fact that they felt no pressure at all to release GTA 6,
Yeah.
that kind of speaks volumes. Because if you look at the PS3 360 gen, 2 GTAs came out in that generation, or at
Mhm.
least for that generation, right? 4 and 5.
It's crazy as
Uh,
well that they don't feel the pressure. I mean, it goes to show, I guess, in a way, how genre breaking the game is. How it,
yeah,
and the public know about this game. Not the public don't know about many games,
yeah,
but they know about this game.
yeah,
But how genre
sure.
breaking it is that they don't feel any pressure. Like, oh, we have to follow this up quickly to build on the success of GTA 5. No, they will take as long as they want, and to the point where some of the people who played GTA 5 would have been teenagers and now are married men, with kids.
Oh, exactly.
And they're still but crazy.
Definitely. But yeah, cool. It'll be interesting to see as time moves on if these rumors are validated or blown out of the water. But like I said, I don't think Rockstar really cares. They'll release it when they are done, good and ready to. They won't succumb to any pressure. We'll see. I am curious about the game. Curious to see how it's perceived and how well it does, what it reviews like, and like I say, maybe there's a chance I might change my mind. But
I'd be surprised if it doesn't get a bunch. Whether it deserves it or not, I'd be surprised if it doesn't get kind of by default 10 out of 10, but we'll see.
Well, yeah, time will tell, right? Okay, well, let's move on to the next topic, and that is PlayStation VR in the news on The Verge, and it doesn't sound great. I know I don't want to spend too much time on this, to be honest. I think we may have even talked about it before in one of the other shows a little bit, but there's a bad taste in the PC world, I think, and just people that own the headset in general that would like to be able to use it with their PC. Just the fact that you have to spend $60 for an adapter that just seems to downgrade the headset. In itself, I think is pretty ridiculous. I think Sony missed an opportunity here, and there's a lack of games on the PS5. They had a chance to bring it to PC and really make a splash, and it's what do? They nerfed it. I'm not a VR guy. I think it's still in its infancy. Maybe when the headsets no longer require cables and it's a little bit more advanced than it is today, I'd be more interested in it. But the only games I think that would draw me in perhaps is something I might want. It would maybe be a flight sim, and or because it'd be great to be able to just look out of the vehicle if you're driving a car. So those two things, flight sim or a car game, maybe I'd be interested, but I'm not too interested in anything else, I don't think, when it comes to it. But I don't know if you have any thoughts on this. I think it's a missed opportunity, if nothing else. And to see articles like this is definitely not doing Sony any favors.
And it's not the first article either, right? It just that seem to be the general sentiment. And I'm kind of like, if Sony weren't serious about it, like if they were, like, why even do it? Like, why do it in such a way it's going to reduce the, unless they're going to bring it out and then they're going to give you free updates so it does get the extra capabilities. But I haven't heard anything from Sony indicating that. So yeah, I've and as for the VR sets themselves, to be honest, I've never tried one. I may have tried one in a store once or twice, but yeah, it just doesn't appeal to me that much for whatever reason. I can't really put my finger on why. I think I worry about motion sickness as well, to be honest, because I even get motion sickness sometimes playing first-person shooters for a long time. Like for the hundreds of hours I poured into Fallout, I would be almost like having to hang on to the sides of the walls going upstairs. I'm like, okay, I probably should give it a break for an evening, but something like this, I think it probably wouldn't be my cup of tea. But strange. It's strange by Sony that I don't find this $60 for the adapter that bad, honestly. As long as you get a fully functioning piece of kit, but not getting that seems poor.
Yeah, nerfing it is a huge mistake, I think, and it's just left a sour taste in people's mouth. And I know there is a third-party piece of software out there that you can use to make it work on PC already, and it's fully functional. I think it's around the same price, $50 for the software. I don't know. I don't think there's any extra hardware required. And I really have no idea why Sony felt the need to make hardware a requirement. I would think even if there's some kind of a chip in it, there's probably a software solution where they could have flashed the firmware, in order to avoid that. But who knows? It's their thing and their thing to screw up. They seem to be 1 foot in the PC arena, 1 foot out still.
Yeah,
and
that's the sense
they're
I
only
get as
hurting
well.
themselves.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think I'd be interested to look back in a few months' time and see what the sales numbers are like. It just doesn't seem that like I agree with you entirely. Like it just seems like they're not 100% committed to it. They're like,
yeah,
yeah, let's just throw it out there. Maybe we'll sell a few adapters or whatever, and that'll
yeah,
cover our costs. But yeah, I'd be interested to see what the uptake is.
yeah, for sure. All right. Next up, we have this little video. I thought this was interesting. I'm going to try and see if I can shrink this to make the actual video portion bigger. There we go. I thought this was really cool myself. And it's a guy that made it into the Guinness Book of World Records for having 444 consoles attached to one TV. I think any gaming geek slash nerd couldn't help but be impressed by this. I thought I'd play a little bit of it. We'll kind of skip through. I don't want to play the whole thing. It's almost 4 minutes, but
I have so many video game consoles.
pretty freaking
After a
cool.
while, I
And you can hear
noticed
that
that
okay?
I have a big stock of gaming consoles that I couldn't play. The TV ports are limited, and if I want to play, either I unplug the existing consoles, or I'll
Like, you
keep
just look
everything
at-
and add more switchers. And
You look
of
at the
course,
systems
more
there. It's
converters
just
as
kind of
well.
mind-blowing.
By adding more switches, the idea came to my mind.
I was
I
like,
will connect
is there
all the
even
gaming consoles I
400
have to the
plus
TV.
game systems?
Then I'll
I guess
contact
there must
Guinness
be.
World Records, as this project
Yeah,
looks
like look at the
unique.
controller stacks. I
You
thought
know,
it was just a pile of controllers,
includes
and I realized
hundreds
those
of
were
video
in
game
stands.
consoles, all different than each other. So I can play
Bizarre.
home video
Just
game consoles,
completely
computers, plug and play,
when
and
you
so
sent
on.
this video to
And
me,
all of these consoles
I
require
was like,
special
oh yeah, that's
setup
kinda cool.
and cable management as well. This is the main area.
what impressed me is that
The main
it's all
HDMI
workable.
switcher, 16 in 1,
Like what he showed
RCA
me now, it works.
switcher.
Like he
If I
puts
want
on
Yeah.
the console
to select any
and
gaming
it comes
console,
up on the TV.
everything
it isn't
here
just
in the
like
Excel sheet,
he's put like
you can
a
see.
billion splitter cables in.
This is main, this is
no,
HDMI,
it all
B,
just
Yeah, like
works.
it's he's
and
got
so
it all
on.
mapped out
This is the
through his
RCA.
PC, so he
I
can go
have
and look
everything.
and see if he
Okay.
wants to play a certain
Once I
console.
turn
It
on
tells him which
the 360,
switches he has to click,
it
which
will come
buttons and stuff.
directly.
And then, yeah,
all
there
the
it is.
consoles the same, everything.
on.
Yeah, that
Xbox
was what I
Series,
thought was impressive.
even
Yeah,
PlayStation
it's freaking
5.
crazy.
You can see here
Pretty
Nintendo
freaking crazy. But
Another
yeah,
one,
like I would think,
RCA number 3,
as gaming enthusiasts,
which
like,
is Neo
this
Geo
is
here.
like, it's
Neo Geo.
not only like a museum, which I think he mentions later on, but it's
Super Nintendo.
functional museum that
number
you get to play
7
with.
here.
And it's like, wow, like I
Power.
thought my console collection
me,
I have over there was
best
pretty cool.
gaming
There's
console
like
of
9 of
all
them or
time.
something there.
Number 1.
Yeah, this
Always.
is
Forever.
completely different league, but
Sega
pretty
Genesis.
crazy.
I'm guessing this guy.
If I
does
want
not
to
work
reach
minimum wage.
440, everything available in order to organize the cable.
I'm gonna guess
Also,
he's got
to,
more than
to
a
have
few
a
pennies
setup,
to his name.
it's not
that's for
only
sure.
to
Probably
play, it's
doesn't
like a
have to
museum.
worry too much
And
about
that's
money.
why this
But,
setup and this record
I can
took
only
too much
imagine
time
what
from
that
me.
collection
I'm
is.
so happy and proud that I'm officially a Guinness World Record holder.
Anyway,
for
shout
the
out to
most
that
gaming
guy.
consoles connected
It's
to a
pretty
single
freaking
TV.
cool. Pretty
400
impressive, I think, and something we can all aspire to if it's something to be aspired to, I guess. I know one of my friends is looking at
as I
selling.
say, I kind of thought he was just doing some.
Oh, I think we're
Oh,
having
sorry.
a bit
I was just
of
going
a
to say,
lag
I thought when he
issue.
sent out the video first, it would be just some guy. Okay. Okay, sorry.
Go
about that.
ahead.
But yeah, like I thought when he sent it on first, I thought it was going to be just some guy with like a billion splitters. But to see it's all working, very very impressive.
Yeah, he's got some high tech gear there, so pretty freaking cool. Hey, maybe one day if I win that lottery or something, I'll build a room like that too, just for the hell of it. But pretty freaking cool. Next up, we have a leak that should probably have never been leaked. I'm not going to get too much into what Deadlock is, but just at a high level, well, it says right here, it's like Overwatch, Dota 2, and Team Fortress 2 all baked into a pie. It's another one of those hero-like shooters that has been secret, that Valve's been working on. They pushed out a few codes, and you're able to send codes to your friends. Well, our friends at The Verge, Sean Hollister, I think it is, Hollister, And Tom Warren got a hold of it and decided it would be a good idea to completely ignore what's on the screen here now. Just by pressing escape, I guess you could get past this. You never had to click OK. They decided that that was their clear sign that the gods had smiled on them and that they should just go ahead and post footage. There's actually 20 some odd minutes of gameplay on YouTube as well. And I find this, it lacks integrity as a journalist. This is something that, people have worked hard on. It clearly wasn't meant for prime time. It wasn't meant to be shown. They went ahead and did it anyway. I have no respect for this. In fact, I feel bad that we're even looking at the website because that gives them a click. But I think it's worth mentioning it just from the I don't know, almost disdain that I have for stuff like this. I just don't agree with it. I think it's the wrong thing to do. I don't know what your thoughts are on it, but
I mean, I think that it's surprising that for something that they want to keep under wraps, so to speak, that it's so easily shared that they don't even know who's necessarily getting the codes, etc. So it's a little bit too open, I would think. But having said that, you would have a different level of expectation with a journalist. Like, it's one thing to share with your friends and tell all your friends about it and all that you saw this cool game, and I guess you even want that to get free beta testing. But for a journalist to do it, it seems, well, as you say, lack of integrity, but it seems pretty dumb as well. Like, you would imagine this guy is going to have trouble getting exclusives going forward because, who's going to trust this guy?
Yeah, I mean, he had his account banned. Valve was not fine with me trying deadlock with friends. No, what they weren't fine with, Sean, was putting it out on the web. That's what they weren't fine with. So he got banned. But his attitude, oh well, feel free to make fun of me in the comments. I just find that annoying. I hope he never gets a code from Valve again. If Valve actually gets back into making games, I hope they never send one to the Verge in the future, because I just think this isn't, the journalistic integrity is grossly lacking in my mind.
But, I think he does the Verge a disservice, I think. But I guess I
think so.
They were okay with him publishing the article, so I guess they're okay with it too. I don't know.
Well, yeah, and that's, I mean, no one would have I shouldn't say no one, but less people would have known about it if Tom Warren hadn't posted it on Twitter or on X. He put out the post and it said, hey, we've got some inside info, basically, come check it out here, and here's our article on it. And I'll give people credit. The vast majority were, what the hell are you doing, man? He's been shredded on quite a few YouTube videos too for it. I think it's just the wrong thing to do, personally. But yeah, anyway, won't probably beat that one up anymore. I think we're in agreement on the journalistic integrity being lacking. But yeah, so next one up, this is one of your topics. I haven't read the whole article, so I'm going to let you kind of guide us through it a little bit, and I can offer my thoughts. I mean, this is something that's a follow-up just for, my intro part of it. It's a follow-up on the AI discussion that we had a few weeks back, and sounds like maybe there's some good news.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you and I had some differences of our opinion on that. So if you haven't heard me and Mike, if you'd like to hear me and Mike bicker like a married couple, you know where to go, the AI article. Having said that, though, I think we agreed on a lot of stuff as well. And
I think the end result we agreed on. We both want to see the actors win. Yeah. And I think that's the main thing to take away.
The only follow-up I was going to do on this one was that I had seen this now. I think I've seen it on the BBC. I've seen it on the Hollywood Reporter. I've seen it on NPR. What's interesting about it to me is that, video games are typically not main mainstream media news stories, right? Like they don't get to the top of it. Maybe GTA being released will be a top of the news story, but they're few and far between. But I do feel like this is kind of it's a bit of a litmus test, I think. It's to the point where a lot of the mainstream media are looking at what happens here, because I think a lot of people are wondering what's going to happen to my job once AI can do a lot of it for me. And I still go back to the essential argument here from the actors, which I 100% agree with, is that we can go in, we can record our stuff, we can do our voice or actually body acting as well. Like the guy who does Spider-Man was one of the people, or actually I think it was a girl who does Spider-Man, was one of the main people talking here. And they can essentially take that and then create new content using that, using your voice, using your body movement, etc. And I think I was thinking afterwards, after our conversation, it's almost analogous to, the Rolling Stones or Queen or Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin are a bad example because they stole all around them. But one of those bands recording a riff and then, a Justin Timberlake or Beyonce or a rapper using that riff in their song, and they're like, "Oh, I've just created new stuff out of it." No, but you're stealing something in between. And I think to me, it's the same. I think you as long as the actors agree that you can use their image, use their voice mode or body motion, that's fine. But you should get royalties, or it should also be okay to say, no, if you want me, you need to hire me. You can't record my voice. But the video game, because it's one of these new things where it's a new industry, AI is pretty new, its capabilities are unknown, so the laws haven't been written yet. And the video games industry seems to be a bit like, well, we can essentially just hire Mental 9R for one thing, get him to record this voiceover using his silky radio tones, and then we can just replicate that over and over again. Mike gets paid for like one day, and we get to use it in perpetuity. That's not correct, if you ask me.
Yeah. No, and I think we are in violent agreement on that. I totally agree. I just think that AI is going to do its thing, and whether or not that means that we just get game content that doesn't have recognizable voices or actors or the likeness of actors, maybe that's what it means. But I think any way that a game company can save money, they're going to try and do it. And, ultimately it comes down to us as gamers to speak with our wallet. If we disagree with what they're doing, we need to stand united and not buy the games. Yeah. And then the message goes through. They lose money. They don't want to do that. They're going to do what they need to do to fix it.
And I would say to the gamers as well, because most gamers now are people with jobs, people in their 20s and 30s. They're not teenagers anymore. If you don't want your job to be replaced by AI, maybe you should think about what you're purchasing, right?
Yeah. No, I agree, and hopefully it works out well. I'd hate to see, and we talked about it before. I mean, there's something special about seeing that recognizable face, like having a Keanu Reeves in Cyberpunk. That just kind of adds something to the game. Would the game still have been good without him? Yeah, probably would have. I enjoyed the game quite a lot. So, in reality, if it was an unknown face, I probably still would have enjoyed the game very, very much. To be perfectly honest. But it does add that little bit of extra oomph when you've got someone that you've seen in The Matrix also in this video game. So, I guess time will tell, but I'm glad that there is some positive news, I guess, to some extent, and that it sounds like things are maybe going in the right direction.
Well, the fact that they're getting the publicity anyway is a good thing. We'll see how it all pans out. Sure. Like I say, it's hard to know where it is going to pan out right now because, as I said, the laws have not yet been written. But I think we need the lawmakers are always a few years behind technology. They need to catch up.
Yeah, for sure. So, for our last topic, if there was one thing that would be just almost unbelievable and completely shocking in the world, what would that one thing be?
Well, one thing we can always be sure of is that Microsoft will give very standardized, consistent messaging and let us all know where we stand. So it
Yeah,
could be that.
yeah, exactly, exactly. But instead, apparently, we heard about this way back. I think it was February, March, or something that Tango was going to be shut down. Tango GameWorks. They came over to Xbox as part of the Bethesda deal, or the purchase of ZeniMax, I guess is a better, more accurate way to say that. They came over to Xbox. They produced a critically acclaimed game in Hi-Fi Rush. You had people like Aaron Greenberg, Microsoft marketing guy or Xbox marketing manager, going on about how Microsoft and Xbox, what they really need is these smaller, highly acclaimed games and things like that. Went on about how Hi-Fi Rush was such a great IP and they couldn't be happier. And then lo and behold, they announced they were going to shut down Tango GameWorks. But oh wait, no. Instead, we now hear that they were acquired by Krafton. I mean, I just call me crazy. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this before, where you announce the studio being shuttered, and then 6 months later you're saying, no, actually, we sold it instead.
Was it even 6 months though? I think it seems more recent than that. It was like
Maybe,
two
maybe.
to
I
three
think I
months
thought it
ago.
was February-ish
Maybe.
because I thought it was around the time they did their special media conference thingy about. Actually, that's another topic we could have talked about today. But actually, it's probably a pretty good one. Maybe we'll just touch on it quickly. Anyway, I think it was around that time when they tried to comfort Xbox gamers about PlayStation getting some of the games. And I thought it was shortly thereafter or right around that time frame. I could be wrong. Maybe it's not as long ago as I thought, but um, it's pretty bizarre nonetheless.
I mean, you know, like these things generally don't happen that quickly. So, I mean, okay, it's one of two things. It's like either A, they announced they were going to shut it down, and someone else got on the phone to Microsoft and said, "Hey, before you do that, we might be interested in procuring this," or they got it through some back channels, whatever. Which is probably what
Yeah.
happened, because if they had announced it while they were negotiating to sell it, it just seems like again the left hand does not know what the right hand is doing.
Yeah, it's just completely bizarre. Like I say, I don't think I've ever seen anything like this where, hey, we're shutting you down. Oh wait, no, we're not. Just kidding. You guys still have jobs. Like, who does that? It's such a bizarre circumstance that just,
So I'm
I don't
looking
know. I
here.
mean, I'm happy. Let me say
Yeah,
this. I'm
yeah,
happy. People keep their jobs. They've got a place to go, somewhere that wants them. I found it insane. Like, of all the stuff that went on with Microsoft, that they finally got a Japanese-based game studio, something they were going after for years. They finally get one through acquisition, and then they shutter it. And now in this case, they've sold it. It's all, I don't get the move. It's weird. We've talked about The Evil Within and wanting to play that game. Well, that's a
yeah,
Tango GameWorks game.
yeah.
Uh, you know,
There's a. I
I don't
just
know what
looked
else
it
to
up
say.
there, and I looked up the Hi-Fi Rush studio being shut down. So the article I find is like Microsoft closes Redfall developer Arcane Austin, Hi-Fi Rush developer Tango GameWorks, and more, and devastating. This was in May that this
Oh,
was
was it
announced.
May? Okay, so I
Yeah,
was way off.
yeah. So like it was
I
not that
suck.
long ago. Which again, I just find it. But you know what? Like to your point,
Time flies when you're having fun, I guess. I thought it was longer than that, but
as hard as it is to believe, given our professionalism, how smooth this all is, that we've only been doing this for a few months. I know it
yeah,
feels like we
yeah,
pros like us have been doing it for years and years, but yeah, that's not the case, people. Believe it or not.
yeah.
Um,
Believe it or not, yeah.
yeah, but
We got all our facts ready to go. I mean,
yeah. But either which way, I think the main point
Anyway.
is that it's good news. I find the Microsoft mixed messaging again just nuts. It really feels like I think there's a schism within Microsoft between the business side and the game side. That's what I think is going on. Like, are they Microsoft side and the Xbox side? So you end up getting two different messages based on what lens you're looking at things are through. Either which way, I think the main point is that it's a good news story. I am happy that they are sticking around and they will have a future. And I think that could be the cue for us in the future replays and to replace Shoulder to maybe do the Hi-Fi Rush or Evil Within. Like maybe we should celebrate it by doing one of those games.
Yeah, it's just so bizarre. It's just so bizarre. But it's like you say, it's like one hand doesn't know what the other hand is doing, and who knows? Maybe somewhere in the business they were working on this deal already, and then someone jumped the gun by announcing the shutdown. It's just weird. It's just really weird. But in the end, I'm glad that the folks at Tango Gameworks have a place to continue going to work. That's great. I'm sure they'll come out with some good stuff, and I'm hopeful there will be an Evil Within 3. Because that was one thing I was thinking would be really cool as an Xbox first party studio, but we'll see. And just because I had mentioned the emergency town hall meeting that Phil and his buddies had to hold to dispel all the fears and devastation that was striking the Xbox community with games going to PS5. Latest rumor is that this, I think it was this holiday season, Horizon 5 will be, like Forza Horizon 5, will be going to PlayStation. So that was accidentally leaked. I guess it showed up on Amazon somewhere for sale as a pre-order. And it had a release date of around sometime this holiday season, if I recall correctly. I don't have all the details. It's not something I looked up. Not something I plan on talking about. But, it kind of fits in with the mixed messaging that we're talking about. Where, they said, we're only planning 4 games and blah, blah, blah. And now here's one of the staple franchises for Xbox. Sounds like it's going to be on PlayStation this year. So, hey, won't be long. Halo, Gears, they'll be there too.
I think so as well. And and again, I may have mentioned it once or twice, but they're not committed to the console market, to the hardware market.
No, they aren't. I find.
Yeah. It just feels like they're doing all these things. It just feels like they're making all these moves, but they don't quite want to announce something yet. They're holding back on announcing the fait accompli, but we'll see.
Yeah. No, and I do find it odd that a lot of the Xbox faithful, I'm seeing the walls coming down when you see guys like Tim Dog, and now I'm seeing Kid Smooth on X kind of going off as well, and a lot of the real major supporters of Xbox are kind of defecting and just going like, what the hell? I'm just not that much of a console warrior to worry about it, but I find it an odd strategy. I don't think it will be good for gaming if Xbox no longer has console exclusive games, because it removes the pressure from Sony. That we want Sony to be under pressure. We want Sony to be focused on building better games and innovating, right? And the only way you push that is if you have real competition. And, in this case, there's just not going to be real competition anymore. And I find it weird that other Xbox gamers, although I have heard some of them sort of coming around to the idea of, why do I really need an Xbox then? They keep telling me I don't need one. I could just buy a PlayStation next gen and get all the games.
Yeah.
And that's been my point since the first time I heard anything about this. You need a reason to buy a plastic box. And that reason usually comes down to something that you just can't get on the competition. And anyway, we've kind of beat that topic up many times before. Was there anything else you wanted to bring up before we wrap this up? We're hitting that 40-minute magic mark that we want to try and not go too far beyond.
Nope, that's it.
So you know what that means. It's your favorite time of the show.
Okay.
Why don't you tell people where they can find you?
My name is Fintintin. I like walks on the beach. You can get me on Fintintin on X with a 1 instead of Verge I, and Fintintin on Steam, PlayStation, and Xbox. For as long as
his DMs are open. His DMs are open. You can
actually, they are not. They are not open.
Oh, they're not open. Okay. All right. Fair enough. Well, and I am at Mental9R on X. That's where you'll find me. And you can find me at Mental9R on PlayStation, Xbox, Steam, and just about anywhere else you can play games. I'm, as I said, Mental9R. He's Fintintin. This is Caffeine Entertainment. The GMX podcast, episode number 9, is in the books. Thanks so much for joining us. If you made it this far, don't be afraid to hit that like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. Leave a comment. Let us know what you think, because that's important too. Thanks for joining us. Have a good one. Don't forget, it's time to wake up and play some games.